My interest in dating another black man is like 1% at this point.
I'm just a little confused about where's all the energy that y'all be having for the black men who make these unsolicited announcements about being done with dealing with black women. Why ain't that in the comment section? Why are y'all not telling her that she didn't have to make the announcement? She could have just went over to other races. Why are you not telling her that she didn't have to put down one race to uplift another? Y'all are the biggest set of hypocrites I've ever seen before in my life.
I have family members I pose that very question to, and they can never answer that. They digress, or they shy away from it, or they try to bring it back and say, well, you did this, you did that, instead of honestly answering that question. And I call them to their face that, you're hypocrites or you liars and so forth. They do not have the same energy. They don't. And I tell them, you are such in dire hatred for the opposite sex. When men do it, I should say, we're evil, we're this, we're that. But when the women come out and say that, it's like, oh yeah, they're entitled, though, they're in the right to say that, but yet the men aren't. And of course, when I correct them or I tell them straight to their face, suddenly, I'm the bad guy, right?
She really sat there and made this video all while she got her black son sitting in the back seat. These are y'all sons. These are the men that you raised, right? But somehow the puzzle just don't get put together. These same men that you complain about not being financially savvy, can't keep no money, don't know how to treat women, ain't emotionally intelligent, abusive, don't know how to channel their emotions positively. All of that sassy, zesty, these are your sons. These are the men you helped raise.
These black males, these BM black males are now baby mamas because they done picked all the attributes of the mother and they have become their mothers. Thus, we have these estrogen spewing males all over the place, busting tantrums and busting fits because a girl rejected them or a woman or a female rejected them. And they go ahead and, unalive her or whatever, beat her up or whatever, doing feminine things.
But somehow you can't put that together. Like when y'all make these videos, is it in hoping that somebody gonna come together and be like, no, please don't. We sorry. We here to change. Is that what you hoping for? Because I just don't understand what's the point. If you ready to leave, then just go. It's very simple. It's an easy concept. If you want to date other men, go date other men. If you want to date other women, go date other women. Nobody really cares. Majority of y'all who always running off at the mouth talking about you gonna go date other races, you've never even dated outside your race. And the reason why I would have to say that is because if you dated outside your race before, why ain't you with that person? Because if it was so much better than it was, why did you ever come back over? Right? So I would have to be inclined to believe you've never done it. So if you've never done it, how can you speak on something being better that you've never experienced? I see every day on my timeline other races of women complaining about the same thing that y'all are complaining about. So how exactly is the experience that much more better, right? There's going to be slight changes here and there, but for the most part, most of y'all are the bad catch. You are the trash. You are the toxic. And that's the reason why it gravitates towards you. See, people who are better catches don't want you. That's the reason why they don't shoot their shot at you. They don't DM you. They don't approach you. It's something about you that repels people who are better options. But because you can't see yourself and you a legend in your own mind and you think that you're a better catch than you actually are, you have to blame the whole race and not yourself, even though you're the common denominator on this issue. Even though you've never dated all black men, all black women, but we do know you pick poorly, right? We can come to that assumption that you pick poorly based off the fact that every one of your experiences have been bad, although there's other women and men who have had good experience, which has to let us confirm you're the problem.
Remember when we were young, how, people used to brag about they got money, they would always be broke. That's, or they get mad chicks and they ain't never had a chick or whatever. That's the same thing with, they're crying out, oh yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to go to a white guy or a Spanish or Asian, and they ain't never had that experience. It's the same thing.
So Natalia says, I don't even dare date black men. Never have, never will. White and Hispanic only. Okay, girl. Well, while you're here, is this you?
I trusted him, although there were a lot of red flags. So many that I can't even count them. It was super lovey-dovey and kind and nice, the whole, yeah. And I was very trusting and too nice.
So you've already confirmed that you have poor decision making when it comes to men. So no matter what race you date, honey, it's not a flick.
Not the races. You filth buckets, you hyenas, you parasites, you brute beasts are the problem.
But then you had the nerve to say that black women who choose to still date black men can keep those pookies and ray-rays. But let's see what type of man you chose in this instance.
This is the first picture of him. His tattoo on his neck and tattoos on his arm. Another angle. This is his dating profile on Hinge. Ladies, if you see him, please just don't mess with him.
Now, I'm not for sure if you're aware of this or not, but there's pookies and ray-rays in every community. Case in point. Ladies, if you pick bad, you're going to pick bad everywhere. It don't matter the community because it's you, not them. Or you could just be like Natalia and get robbed for $10,000. That's not so bad, right? Peace.
He robbed her for 10 G's. But we know one thing. She got robbed by a Spanish pookie. I hope she enjoyed it.
So many black men date and marry outside of their race for a social boost, for a...
So the issue I have with this explanation is that if it applies to men, which let's assume that it does, it most definitely applies to women also. This book, The Dating Divide, Race and Desire in the Era of Online Romance, was written by sociologists, and what it does is look at dating patterns today. What it found was that all men of all races primarily preferred women from their own race first, whereas women of all races had a preference for white men first, and then they had a preference for men of their own race. So when you want to talk about social mobility and the desire to move up, you have to include black women in that conversation.
See the hypocrisy, right? But yet they want to quickly point out the finger that the men are doing this. Men bash black women. This, believe me, I got enough of them in my family. I got females that are in my family members that's all they chirp about. Without looking at themselves, they quick to look at somebody and see how their eyes are dirty, but they never look at their own filthy eyes. And when you correct them on that, suddenly again, you're the monster, or you're evil, or you're the bad guy.
Based upon what I made up, but just based upon the evidence. And this is one of the issues that I have with these kinds of conversations. It can hyper focus on what men are doing wrong, what black men are doing wrong, and we're never really looking in the mirror as women. You mean to tell me that black men are the only ones who desire social mobility, but black women don't? Arguably more so, based upon the evidence. That is what we have found. And so I think if we continue to have these conversations that are really based upon maybe our own ideas or anecdotal experiences, but do not include data from actual sociologists and studies that can help shape these conversations, then it can start to promote misinformation. And in my opinion, it can really help fuel this unnecessary gender divide. That's not really helping anyone.
This gender divide or gender war thing, we all know who's going to win. It's going to be men. Okay? Because women aren't equipped to battle, to be in a war like that, nor psychologically nor physically. So they can keep on with this little, antics of theirs, thinking that, they're actually going to get somewhere, but they're not. And they will be left to themselves to be lesbos or to be, with cats and dogs and whatever. We've seen the evidence of that. Men, we can be alone and be just fine. But there's a plethora of women overseas waiting. That's why you got all these movement, MGTOW and Passport Bros and all these other movements that men are doing, because we're tired of this stupidity in the West. Leave these Western brute beasts to themselves, regardless of their ethnic background, because they all brute beasts. Leave them. Let them be. And then watch how they'll cease to exist. Knock Louise, y'all. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way when I drop a new one, you'll be notified, all right? That was my perspective. Catch y'all on the next one.